When people imagine a serial killer, they often think of a shadowy figure lurking in the dark, waiting to strike. Rarely do we imagine a man in a white coat, a trusted family doctor who sits in the comfort of our own homes, offering care and medicine. Yet, Harold Frederick Shipman, better known as Dr. Death, shattered that perception forever. Born in 1946 and working for decades as a general practitioner in England, Shipman is believed to have killed over 200 patients during his medical career, making him one of the most prolific serial killers in recorded history. Unlike many murderers driven by chaos or visible violence, Shipman operated quietly within the trust of his patients and the structure of the healthcare system. This essay takes a deep look into the life, crimes, and legacy of Harold Shipman, a man who used medicine, not weapons, to carry out his horrific deeds. His story remains a chilling reminder of how power, trust, and opportunity can be misused in the most devastating ways. Harold Shipman was born on 14 January 1946 in Nottingham, England, the second of four children in a working-class family. His father, Harold Frederick Shipman SR, was a truck driver, while his mother, Vera, was a strict and dominant figure in his life. Shipman grew up reserved, intelligent, and athletic, excelling in school and sports. But his childhood took a dark turn when his mother developed terminal lung cancer. Harold, still a teenager, witnessed her suffering closely. She was treated with morphine, an opioid that relieved her pain, but also slowly dulled her consciousness until she died in 1963, when Harold was only 17. Psychologists later suggested that this experience deeply shaped his psyche. Watching morphine both relieve suffering and end life may have planted a seed in young Shipman's mind, the power to control life and death through medicine. After his mother's death, Shipman pursued medical studies at Leeds School of Medicine, where he graduated in 1970. He married Primrose Oxtoby in 1966, and together they had 4 children. To outsiders, Shipman appeared as a hard-working doctor and devoted family man, but cracks were already forming beneath this respectable image. Shipman began practicing medicine in 1974 as a general practitioner in Todmorden, West Yorkshire. Just a year later, he was caught forging prescriptions for pethidine, a painkiller similar to morphine, for his personal use. This was the first major sign of his addiction to control, drugs, and deception. He was fined, briefly sent to rehab, and moved on to other practices. After this incident, his record showed a disciplinary note, but surprisingly, he was allowed to continue working. This would prove to be a tragic decision by the system. By the 1980s and 1990s, Shipman had established himself as a trusted family doctor in Hyde, Greater Manchester. He ran his own practice and cared for hundreds of patients. He was seen as reliable, calm, and always available. Few could imagine that during this very time, he was quietly carrying out one of the largest killing sprees in modern history. Shipman's modus operandi, how he killed. Unlike typical serial killers, Shipman's methods were subtle and professional. He targeted elderly patients, often women. He administered lethal doses of dimorphine, medical heroin, disguised as treatment. He often visited patients at home, ensuring privacy. After death, he would sign the death certificate himself, listing natural causes as the reason. This allowed him to cover up his crimes for years. Most victims' families trusted him completely, believing their loved ones had died peacefully and naturally under the care of their doctor. Victims and impact on families. It is estimated that Shipman killed between 215 to 250 patients over 2 decades. The majority were elderly women in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. For many families, the death of an elderly relative seemed unsurprising, but later, when investigations revealed that these were deliberate killings, grief turned into betrayal and rage. Many families had praised Shipman as a caring doctor who was always there. In truth, he was robbing them of precious years with their loved ones. What set Shipman apart was not just the number of his victims, but the fact that he was killing in plain sight, under the very system designed to protect patients. The Kathleen Grundy case, turning point. The unraveling of Shipman's crimes began in 1998 with the death of Kathleen Grundy, a wealthy 81-year-old widow. After her death, her daughter, a lawyer, was shocked to discover that Grundy's will had been altered to leave nearly all of her estate, about £386,000, to Harold Shipman. Suspicious, she alerted the police. An autopsy revealed lethal levels of diamorphine in Grundy's body. This single case opened the floodgates. Once the police dug deeper, they began exhuming bodies of Shipman's other patients. Almost all showed traces of diamorphine. The seemingly natural deaths were, in fact, murders. Investigation and trial. Shipman was arrested in September 1998. Investigators soon realized that Grundy's case was only the tip of the iceberg. Computer records, forged documents, and medical histories pointed to a shocking pattern of killings stretching back decades. The trial began in October 1999. In January 2000, Harold Shipman was found guilty of 15 counts of murder and 1 count of forgery, the Grundy wills. He was sentenced to life imprisonment, with the judge recommending he never be released. But even as the trial concluded, it was clear that the true number of victims was far higher than the 15 proven in court. The final count, how many did he kill? Official inquiries later concluded that Shipman had killed at least 215 patients, though some estimates suggest the number could be as high as 250 or more. This made him the most prolific serial killer in recorded history. The question everyone asked was, why, unlike other killers, Shipman gained little financial benefit from his crimes, aside from the Grundy will forgery. Psychologists speculated that his actions were tied to a desire for control, echoing the moment when, as a teenager, he watched morphine ease his mother's pain and end her life. Prison and death. Shipman was imprisoned at Wakefield Prison. He lived a quiet, isolated existence behind bars, often refusing to interact with others. On 13 January 2004, a day before his 58th birthday, Harold Shipman was found dead in his cell, having hanged himself with bedsheets. His suicide robbed many families of a sense of closure, as he never confessed to his crimes or explained why he committed them. The aftermath. Reforms in the UK medical system. The Shipman case shook Britain to its core. How could a doctor kill so many people over decades without being caught? In response, the government launched the Shipman Inquiry, led by Dame Janet Smith. The inquiry revealed major flaws in how deaths were certified and how doctors were monitored. As a result, the UK introduced reforms. Stricter monitoring of controlled drugs like diamorphine. Tighter death certification procedures. Greater oversight of doctors through regulatory bodies. Better systems for families to raise concerns about suspicious deaths. Shipman's crimes forced the entire medical profession to confront its weaknesses. Did he do it? Unlike many killers driven by money, anger, or sadism, Shipman's motives remain unclear. Several theories exist. 1. Control and power. He enjoyed deciding when someone would live or die. 2. Echo of mother's death. Watching his mother's morphine treatment may have shaped his fascination with opioids and death. 3. Addiction to killing. Over time, the act itself may have become compulsive, a dark routine hidden behind professional respectability. His lack of remorse and refusal to explain left experts puzzled. Some argue Shipman's case shows that evil can exist even in ordinary, respectable figures. Legacy of Dr. Death. Harold Shipman's name is now synonymous with betrayal. As a doctor, his duty was to heal, comfort, and protect. Instead, he turned medicine into a weapon, using trust as his cover. He left behind hundreds of grieving families, a scar on the reputation of the medical profession, and a legacy of reforms in healthcare. His crimes remind us of the dangers of unchecked authority and the importance of accountability even in the most trusted professions. In the end, Shipman's story is not only about murder. It is about misplaced trust, systemic failures, and the chilling reality that sometimes the greatest danger lies not in the shadows, but in the very people we rely on the most.